You know, I've said before that I think anime fans are delusional, especially when it comes to anime games, but this one takes the cake. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Little Sauce, the one who knows best, and in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about anime games, and specifically anime arena fighters. Obviously, on this channel, we talk about anime and anime games all the time. I'm obviously a huge anime and manga fan. I play fighting games, I play anime games, I play anime fighting games, and most of them leave a lot to be desired, especially lately. Like, I would say since the PS4, we haven't really gotten that many great anime games, and it's only recently that we're even getting some kind of decent ones, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been playing Hinokami Chronicles 2, the new Demon Slayer game. I think it's okay, but we're making this video today talking about these and then ranking some anime games because I came across this tweet earlier while I was streaming, actually, and it's from a user by the name of Mobile Suit Rock, who I'm not familiar with whatsoever, but I might have to reach out to bro because this tweet like broke my mind. Okay, it says that big arena fighter video is definitely going to be a 3-parter dropping in early 2026. So apparently he's got some big series he's working on where he's discussing anime arena fighting games, and it's not dropping until 2026, which is a ways away from now. But hey, I'll be looking forward to it, bro, because I need to see what's going through your head and how you came to this conclusion. Until then, here's every modern PS4 and newer anime arena fighter ranked by how well I think they embody what an arena fighter should be. And you know what? I'm gonna DM this dude and ask him what an arena fighter should be. And maybe he don't want to speak too much or say too much because he's saving it for his video or whatever. But like, he drops a list here that you can low-key kind of see. And it is the most insane list I think I've ever seen when it comes to anime games. Now, all right, so Pete, where am I at? Boom. All right, so check. As I'm sitting here editing this video, I dead ass, I was like, you know what? Let me actually go DM bro, because I need to understand what his criteria is. So I opened up Twitter and I went to his page, and then I seen this tweet where he actually gives what his criteria is. And he says, main criteria of what I think makes a good arena fighter: movement, character and moveset diversity, moveset utility, and spatial management. I value a lot of those same things. So it really confuses me even further why his is, it's whatever. We gonna get to my own list here momentarily after we go through his real quick. So I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it back to, I will say this, okay? I'm not gonna like sit here and bash bro, even though I am flabbergasted by it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But like, I was like, you know what? I need to make content out of this myself and make my own list and just talk about some of these games, because, okay. So the list starts off with number 1 being My Hero Academia One's Justice, followed by Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme Versus, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Kill la Kill the Game IF, The 7 Deadly Sins Knights of Britannia, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero coming in at number 6, A Certain Magical Virtual-On, not familiar with that game, J-Star's Victory Versus, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Eyes of Heaven, Demon Slayer The Hinokami Chronicles, down at number 10, Infinite Stratos vs. Colors, Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash, Jump Force, and then Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. Which, I had so many issues with this, but seeing the Naruto Storm series, and he didn't like specify like the individual games, like some of them he just put the whole series. Like, I'm assuming this means Xenoverse 1 and 2. I'm assuming this means One's Justice 1 and 2. Maybe he also is including Gundam Versus in this Gundam game, right? I'm gonna assume this means the entire Storm series. But even if it means just Storm 1, it being this low on this list is nothing short of criminal. Because dog, I'm telling you, I will take the worst game in the Naruto Storm series over the majority of the games on this list, if not all of them. We're gonna figure that out as we go along, but it then's followed up by One Piece Burning Blood, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and at the bottom of the list, the very last game on the list he has, I know my camera's blocking a little bit, but he has Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I'm of the opinion, and this is no secret, that most anime games are bad, especially these days. Like, if we're talking about modern games, like games that have released since the PS4 era up to now, most of them are bad. The bar is in hell, it's extremely low, and even the games that I think are the best on this list, I don't think overall are that great of video games. That being said, for their standard, we are going to rank them here today and discuss these a little bit, because I just like, if I'm going to critique bro's list and talk about it, I got to make my own, right? So I actually went ahead and made my own template. This will be linked in the description down below where you can make your own template as well. There could be some games that I left out but I did include a couple that he didn't. So for example, I put Xenoverse 1 and 2. I put all of the Storm games individually. I did add in Gundam Versus. And so yeah, we're gonna get into it. Now I do have to make an additional tier here. Gonna add a row below, close this out. Not familiar with your game. Now this isn't necessarily the I haven't played this game tier, because I'm gonna be honest. There's a few games here that I haven't played that I will be ranking because I didn't have to play those games in order to judge them. Okay, like there's a couple of games that I don't really think they needed to be purchased and played to understand that they were going to be as bad as they were. Okay, but anywho, let's make this list. There are a couple here that he talked about that like I'm not familiar with at all, so we'll go ahead and get those out of the way first and foremost. I should probably give my own criteria for how I'm judging these games. That might make a lot of sense. Let's get into that real quick. Number one, first and foremost, the gameplay / combat and the movement. Some of these games are way too stiff and clunky and awkward. Some of them are way too floaty and there's no impact and it's just not fun to play, right? The gameplay and the enjoyment I get out of it is going to outweigh anything else when it comes to these games. And I think that's just going to be the most important. Fluid movement, fluid animations, and just the way the game feels when you're controlling these characters, I think is the most important aspect. Number two, content. Content is also important. Increasing replayability, adding to the game's longevity. This is going to include story mode, roster size, DLCs, extra game modes, whether that be online or offline, like a tournament mode, endless mode, player match, so on and so forth, survival mode, endurance battle, whatever the case may be. Number three is online. Problem is the online in all these games sucks, so you take this one with a grain of salt, and normally that's something that would be very important to me, but because it's pretty bad in all these games, and some are just way worse than others, it's not as important as the other two because anime games just don't have good online. And that's pretty much it, so let's go. A certain magical virtual on, which I think is this one. I've never played or even heard of that game until now. Infinite Stratos versus Colors, which is this game. Not familiar with this whatsoever. I think I'm at least aware of what the rest of these are. Yeah, we can talk about it, okay? So Bleach Rebirth of Souls. That game is a game that for anime game standards, I think is actually pretty solid. It was lackluster on release because the story mode, in my opinion, wasn't very good. I was impressed with it at first until I realized what it was the more that I played. And it's actually so boring and so uninteresting and unfun that I have not finished it. And I don't intend to finish it. The gameplay itself was pretty fun. I had my gripes with it. Thought it needed some adjustments and some changes. And it got some balance changes and whatnot, but it wasn't enough in my opinion. Overall, while the combat is solid, I do feel like the pace of the matches is far too slow. It launched with like a lack of content in game modes. Like there was no ranked for one, which is inexcusable in my opinion. You have player match lobbies, but they're limited to 2 players. Inexcusable in my opinion. While I think this game is better than a lot of games on this list and on this roster, I still don't think it's that great. I think right now we're going to put it at C. This could go up or down. We'll continue to move along as things go. Next, we have Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1 and 2. We'll rank these together, okay? So Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1, I think is at least a step above Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I think the story mode is better. Obviously the visuals are impeccable. And by the way, the music, the visuals, everything like that, the aesthetic of Bleach Rebirth of Souls, they knock that stuff out of the park, but they drop the ball in a lot of other areas. Demon Slayer also knocks it out of the park with visuals. CyberConnect 2, if they can do anything right, it's definitely the visuals, okay? The ultimate jutsu in the Naruto Storm games and the regular jutsu and the ultimates in this game, the techniques and everything, very, very good. Another thing in my opinion that Demon Slayer does well, and this goes along with the Storm games, I think CC2 to me have made the best feeling anime arena fighters. I think moving around and actually fighting feels more fluid and more fun than most of these games, if not all of them. But I'll say this again, it also launched with like a lack of modes. It was in 30 FPS, then it got a 60 FPS patch, but I think PS4 didn't. And even though you could have crossplay between PS4 and PS5, you couldn't if you had the 60 FPS on because the PS4 didn't have it. Input delay, terrible netcode, which frankly, none of these games have good online. Honestly, the netcode in every single one of these games, at least the ones that I've played, is bad. You know what I'm saying? Rollback netcode has become the standard at this point in fighting games. It's not the standard at all in anime games. I don't know if we'll ever see a lifetime or a point where we get there, but the netcode leaves a lot to be desired in all of these games. None of them do it that well. Demon Slayer 2, I think Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 fixed up a lot of the things that Demon Slayer 1 failed when it comes to like online modes. There's a team match, there's player matches, spectating, everything like that. Still no tournament mode, which I just feel like that should just be a standard in games like this. Why online fighting games just don't come with tournament modes, I don't understand. Story mode was pretty good. I played through the entire thing myself on stream, had a good time doing that. Music, soundtrack, everything like that. Animation quality, obviously top notch. Movement feels good. It made some changes to the gameplay. They added more characters, and that's one of the criticisms of this game, that the roster was kind of small, and they added some DLC, but now you get all the DLC plus more with this game. And the online is still bad, but like I guess I can't hold that too far against it as long as we're ranking this in terms of anime games. That's another thing as well. These are being graded like on a curve. If we're grading these games based on how good they are as video games, nothing is above like a B tier. The bar is so low that you got to grade them differently, in my opinion. That's just kind of how it is, right? But I just think anime games will have a lower quality for the most part, unfortunately. And we buy them up anyway because we love seeing our favorite characters and IPs. So Sparking Zero, I think, is a worse game than Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles. I tried very hard to be vocal about my criticisms of that game and speak up for it and see it for the betterment. It's gotten improvements. I do think it is one of the better arena fighters that we've gotten in like the last 10 years. But again, that's not saying very much because they've been so bad. And honestly, we're going to need another tier because there are some F tier games. Sparking Zero had a ton of issues. It should have been the successor to Tenkaichi, and it's similar, but it's not quite there. It drops the ball on a lot of fronts. It is what it is. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, I'm not gonna lie, is one of the greatest anime games of all time. The single player experience is one of the better ones that you can get from most of these games outside of the Storm games, in my opinion. Getting to revisit the Dragon Ball story in a new twist, creating your own character was obviously groundbreaking in Xenoverse 1. And honestly, we should talk about Xenoverse 1 first, I guess, but I'm gonna put that one. See, for its time, it was A tier, but ranking it now, it's not as good. Do I think Xenoverse 1 is better than Sparking Zero? I think I do, honestly. You gotta look at this one with take this one with a grain of salt, because it was the first of its kind, right? Where Xenoverse hadn't been done before. It wasn't quite Raging Blast. It wasn't quite Budokai. It wasn't quite Tenkaichi. It was its own thing. I'm gonna keep it a stack. Dimps makes the best Dragon Ball games. Like when you compare them to like Dimps, Spike, and whoever else has made Dragon Ball games, all the ones that I think are the best were made by Dimps. So yeah, Xenoverse comes out, new fresh spin on the Dragon Ball story, because all we did was just play Raditz to the Buu saga over and over again, which I never really minded, but we got a fresh new take on it, creating your own character, obviously groundbreaking for the Dragon Ball story. I know we did that with Ultimate Tenkaichi. Ultimate Tenkaichi isn't here because that was a PS3/360 game, but this took it above and beyond. And at the time, I thought this was like one of the best Dragon Ball games ever made, and low-key it kind of still is. Obviously falls now that we're years removed from it. Xenoverse 2 did everything Dragon Ball Xenoverse did and took it up a whole nother level, improvements everywhere. It was really buggy, glitchy at times, but I mean, this has content for days. People are still playing it to this day, still is getting DLC and updates. Like, it's Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2's longevity. And honestly, I damn near want to put it in S tier. Like, I put over 1,000 hours into this game back when I played it. That might be a shock to some of you guys, but when this game came out, I grinded really heavily on this. I kind of got my start in the gaming space on here with Xenoverse 2, and that's how I met Rhyme Style and Afro and the rest of the squad. So I low-key, just longevity standpoint, content standpoint, the single player experience, like, yeah, it's got its issues, but if we're just talking in the scope of anime games, I think it low-key got to go in the S tier. Gundam Versus seems like a quality game, but it just really wasn't for me. I'm going to try to put my own personal bias aside, but just from like a production standpoint, just how well the game is made, I would think it's like a B or an A. It's really not for me. I didn't really enjoy my time that much when I played it, not necessarily because I just thought the game was bad, but I just didn't enjoy the combat. J-Stars, I think, is a D tier game. Story mode is awful. Honestly, the only thing this game has going for it to me is the roster. And the same thing goes for Jump Force, which Jump Force might be even worse. And it's fucked up because, like, when Jump Force was coming out, y'all might have seen me in some Bandai promo or heard me talking about this game and being excited and hype. I got to play this game early at E3, I remember, like the year before it came out. And the build that I played, I thought was like an unfinished version of the game that was going to be pretty different from the time it released. From the time I played this game to the time it released, there were no changes. The story mode in both of these is garbage, but I think Jump Force is even worse. And it was extremely buggy, glitchy, no rematch button for a long time, horribly imbalanced and broken, terrible netcode. The game is shut down now. I don't even believe you can even play this online anymore or purchase it digitally anymore. I thought it was going to be a big step up from J-Stars, and it was honestly a step down. Then we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Eyes of Heaven. Again, some of the worst online ever. Like, I remember seeing the homie Afro make a video on this game back in the day and just...
Okay. Okay. Yo, this is so laggy. I'm actually a little bit upset.
Yeah, no. Sorry, JoJo fans, unplayable. Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. Like, a cash grab if I've ever seen it. One of the absolute worst anime games ever fucking made, bar none. Kill la Kill IF, I think, is cool. I didn't love it. It's solid. I do think it is better than a lot of these games. It's more well made. Niche community. It's just I didn't play it a ton. It wasn't really for me. Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost On is Gundam versus all over again, but like better, I guess. It's Gundam versus but more. Highly hailed as one of the better games. I mean, people really like Gundam versus, and this is one of the ones that people consider like one of the best anime arena fighters. Again, it's not for me. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt at the very least. Like I said, Gundam versus didn't strike me as a bad game when I played it. I just didn't really care for it. Then we have My Hero 1's Justice, which, I mean, I guess like nah. I don't like these games at all. The super floaty, like very like low gravity combat just feels awful. The story mode sucked. It's just the content. It's no. And I really feel like these are probably better than J-Stars, but like, is that really same? Like, do we need an F? Do we need an F- tier so I can move J-Stars down to F and move these down? Like, I don't. These need to go up because these are better than J-Stars, I guess. We'll just do it like this. I don't. No. And then we're gonna do this. We're gonna save the Storm games for a moment, okay? We're gonna save the Storm games for a moment. Where is Naruto Storm Connections? Why is Connections not here? How did I forget to add Connections? You know what? It's fine. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna move on without it. One Piece Burning Blood is very much like a J-Stars kind of game. Again, super stiff combat made by Spike Chunsoft, the same developers who made J-Stars and Jump Force. They have some cool features in there when it comes to like Sanji, for example, won't hit women. And like, if you're a One Piece fan, there are things about this to appreciate, but overall, I think it's a pretty bad game. The online is awful. Again, the content's not really there. It's just not good. One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, and a game that no one will ever play because another game that I believe is shut down and you can't even play anymore. So that should tell you everything you need to know about it. Saint Seiya Soldier Soul. This is a game that I never actually got to play for myself, and I actually wanted to pick this up and play it, and I haven't seen as much from this as I have with some of these other ones that I may not have played but experienced enough secondhand and could clearly tell with my own eyes enough about them. You know what I'm saying? If I had to take a wild guess, this game's probably not that good, to be honest. But yeah, I can't really speak on it too much. We have Seven Deadly Sins, D-tier game, the Knights of Britannia, I think this one's called. Yeah, again, just all the same issues all these other ones have. Just not enough content, terrible online, the combat feels awful. It just feels like a glitchy, buggy cash grab. Then we get to the Naruto Storm game. And I said it before, I think, but I'll say it again. I will take the worst Storm game over basically everything here. Your only two options for which Storm game is the worst would be Revolution or Connections. I would assume that 99% of people who've ever played a Naruto Storm game would say that those are the two worst ones. Unless you started with one of those and you have nostalgia for it because you're younger or you just never got into the series before then. But I think anybody who's been playing the game since Storm 1 or Storm 2, you would say that Revolutions and Connection are the worst. So with Revolution, even though I think it's the worst Storm game, I can't put it any lower than A tier. And I would put it over Gundam Versus for my own personal enjoyment. Now, I do like Naruto more than I like Gundam. I have an inherent bias to Naruto. I will acknowledge that. I'll be transparent about that. But for me, it's not even just about the Naruto IP. Like, I genuinely just think these games are more fun. The story modes, the content, the gameplay, the movement. Like, again, not without flaws, but come on. So, we'll start off with Storm 2. Storm 2 was my first Naruto Storm game. And to me, it was pretty damn good. The roster was good. The story mode was enjoyable. It was my first time getting to play as a lot of the cast as, you know, their time skip versions or the Shippuden versions. And I loved this game to death. I was awful at it at the start. I lost every single match that I ever had online. I got significantly better at these games by a very large margin as the series continued to go on. But I got my ass kicked all the time in Storm 2. And I still love that game. I still had a blast with it. And the series only got better as it went on. I think Naruto Storm 2, like I said before, the story mode is great. CC2 kills it with the visuals. Combos feel very satisfying in that game. Ultimate Jutsu looks sick. It feels satisfying to pull off. Dope roster. Soundtrack is good. Like, the biggest criticisms of this game is that like the online wasn't that good. None of these games have good online. But frankly speaking, the Storm games probably have better online than most of these because they got pretty bad at times. They weren't as bad as this JoJo's game or where is it? As this JoJo's game as Jump Force. You know what I'm saying? At least in my opinion and from my recollection. And I actually went back and did a playthrough of the Storm game. Now it's been a few years again since that, but remember when they came out with that whole trilogy and the Legacy collection or whatever with all the Storm games? I went back and played through all of those and I still had a blast playing through every single one. This was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago now when that came out. Still enjoyed them like they just came out. You know what I'm saying? So Storm 2, I think it's not the best one in the series, but it's at least A tier. And I'm putting that at least on par, maybe slightly better than slightly worse, give or take, as the Demon Slayer 2 game. Generations is my personal favorite Naruto Storm game. It's just the one I had the most fun with. I got my first ever W online in that game. All the same praise I gave to Storm 2 applies to all of these. When it comes to visuals, music, story modes, these are, even Storm 4 with its cutscenes and slideshows, I'm taking that over most other story modes in this game. I'm not taking it necessarily over Xenoverse because of the slideshow stuff, and Xenoverse is obviously like fully animated. And even in Generations, they had like animated cutscenes, like actual like anime scenes. And then this was like the last game I think you had where you still had like different like tilt combos and stuff. So yeah, Storm Generations is my favorite one. Storm 3, even with all its flaws, with, you know, Data being broken back then, Mass Man, the story mode in this one, top notch. Wouldn't be shocked if this is most people's favorite one. Storm 2 and 3 is probably going to be most people's favorite, I would imagine. Actually, I would think most people say Storm 3 had the best story mode. Their favorite could vary. For me, like I said, it's Generations. The Storm 3 has the best story mode. I think bar for bar, this one probably just has like the most well executed story mode out of the games. And then you have Storm 4, which I'm still going to put in S tier, because despite the fact that this game didn't have a proper endless mode, lobbies were only 4 players. I don't believe they were spectating. You have the slideshow cutscenes. The online sucks. Even with all those flaws, I think the positives of these games just outweigh all of that in comparison to these other ones. Now, if you want to make the argument that Demon Slayer 2 starts off a lot better than Storm 4 does, and so it should be placed ahead of that, if you honestly want to put Demon Slayer in S tier relative to the rest of these other anime games, I wouldn't be mad at it. If you want to say Demon Slayer 2 is a better game than Storm 4, just off the strength of just like functionality and the story mode and the game modes, I wouldn't necessarily argue with you. But because of like where it ended up by the end, because it did, y'all remember #FixStorm4? I think at that point it probably is still a better game than Hinokami Chronicles 2 altogether. And people are still playing Storm 4 to this day, to be honest. And Demon Slayer 2 is a game that's already falling off, and it's kind of getting hard to find matches, and the game hasn't even been out for like 2 full weeks yet. I think it's only officially been out for like a week. So longevity is just not there. A lot of these games just feel super disposable, and it's because they're so low effort and so low quality. I don't think that the anime arena fighter genre is bad inherently. I just think that we've been getting really bad games. You know what I'm saying? There's like a really bad stigma that this subgenre of fighting games has, and I understand why. People think if a game's an arena fighter, it's automatically bad. And it's not because the genre itself is flawed or because that they can't be good. It's just they don't put enough love and fucking care into these games. Like the people who are developing these, or whether just because I don't want to throw developers under the bus. Developers don't go out of their way to like make a shitty game. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's because of time crunch, budget constraints, time constraints, limitations set to them by the publishers, by Shueisha, whoever's in charge of the IP. Most of these games just aren't good. Like Bleach Rebirth of the Soul is a game that had so much potential that it didn't live up to. Sparking Zero is a game that had so much potential that it didn't live up to. And a lot of times you get games like these that don't get the updates that they should, or they get them too little too late. Launching without bare bones basics necessities. Like Super Counter being as broken as it was when this game released. This game releasing with no rank mode and 2-player lobbies. Like Storm 4 releasing with the broken stuff that it had online. And then you also have glitches in these games as well, like the leader switch glitches and the stun locking and everything like that. But I would still take all of that over this because it's just a more fun game to play. And also like it got some patches, but you know, I would say Demon Slayer 2 has a better launch than Storm 4 for sure. For sure. Because Storm 4 was a mess at the start. But it was still fun. It was still fun. And like I said, Xenoverse 2 is a very far from perfect game. Bro, the last Xenoverse 2 video I ever made is a video with Rhymestyle saying that Xenoverse 2 is broke. Matter of fact, roll the clip.
Oh, you can't even hit me. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Dog, I'm uploading this video, and I just want them to see this. Like, I just want them to see this. Because the thing is we didn't even do anything to trigger this. This just activated like this.
How many years ago was this? That's the last time I ever played this game. And even that, after experiencing that, that's how low the bar is. That this is an S tier above almost all these other games. Because the shit that you go through or experience or that you're lacking in these other games is even worse than that. So like, I don't know, man. Sparking Zero is a game that has gotten some good updates from what I hear. You maybe could move this game up to like at least the B tier. Maybe it is better than Bleach Rebirth of Souls at this point. But That's probably as high as I'd be willing to go personally. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, because I definitely feel like Demon Slayer is a better game than Bleach Rebirth of Souls. Xenoverse is as well. Sparking Zero is debatable. Bleach might have to just go into C tier by itself. It's just mid. It's actually just hellified mid, unfortunately, because I was really rooting for that game. Y'all know I was there. Every single release trailer, every single character trailer, like every update, I was there. I streamed the story mode. I made like 1 or 2 videos of actual gameplay because once the game came out, I was like, damn, bro, like it didn't live up to the hype. It didn't meet expectations, and it just didn't get the updates that it needed. And I don't really know anybody who's still playing that game now, to be honest. A lot of these games, you can still find some enjoyment with them. I'm sure some of you guys are like, oh, but I like that game, or I play that game with the homies and I have a lot of fun. For me, if the game is only fun with your friends, it's not a fun game. If you only have fun playing with your homies, it's not a good game, because any game that I actually enjoy that much, I play it dolo. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, you could play some bullshit and it'd be fun with your homies. You know what I'm saying? How many friend slop games of the week come out like every other day now that you see in streamers and shit play, or that I even play like on the squad channel with the homies? Most of those games are terrible. But if you're playing with your friends, it's just dumb and you're just having fun. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of them games, they be $20 or less, 10, 15, $3 to $5 at times. These are full price games. Like most, if not all of these are like 60 to, in some cases, $70, $80 games. You know what I'm saying? So, and sure, they might be cheaper now, find some on sale, whatever. But like at launch, these are MSRP $59.99, if not $69.99. You might have had 1 or 2 in here that were like $40, $50, and it don't be worth it. It don't be worth the money. It do not be worth the money. So this is where I'm at with it. I think Xenoverse and the Storm games are probably the best anime arena fighters that we've ever gotten. Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 is up there. You might even be able to, I don't know. I feel like, yeah. Yeah, dog. Oh man. I've talked so much shit about Xenoverse 2 and it's still like one of the best ones we've ever gotten. That's the crazy part. I've talked so much shit about this game over the years after I've quit playing it, and I quit playing it for reasons that were valid because the game was broken and unplayable. But even with that, it's still better. Like this, it speaks volumes, bro. It speaks volumes. But this is my list. If there's any games that I left off of this, feel free to drop them in the comments down below if you want to hear my thoughts about them. Maybe I'll respond with a comment. Maybe I can add them to this tier list, to this template. Like I said, if you want to make your own, if you make your own tier list, feel free to drop it in the comments down below, or better yet, tweet it at me at LotusSauceCora on Twitter. And maybe I'll make a reaction video reacting to a bunch of you guys, your different tier lists or whatever. And yeah, it just I'm done. All right, so check me out, man. I'm sitting here editing this video, basically done, watching it back and everything, and I'm looking at my tier list and I'm really starting to think, and I didn't really like the finished product. So I'm sitting here and I made some revisions, and we're gonna tack this here on at the end. So if you made it this far, you've seen something completely different. You probably already left some comments already talking about this should go here or this should go there, or whatever. I made some adjustments. Now, it's obviously very opinionated and super subjective, so y'all still not gonna be happy with it, or at least everybody isn't, but this is my updated version. All right, so check me out. Almost every single tier has changed just a little bit. So in the S tier, we have Xenoverse 2, Storm 3, and Storm 4. I moved Generations down from the S tier to the A tier because when we're taking into account gameplay, I did say that was the most important, and Generations probably had my favorite gameplay of any game, but it's not like 3 or 4 were that big of a difference. Storm 4 obviously introduced leader switching, and that did add a whole new thing to the game, and I think that probably makes it my second favorite behind Generations, if I'm being honest. And then Storm 3, its story mode is just so much better than every other Storm game, because in Generations, like, you did have some anime cutscenes in there, but it's also a lot of slideshows just like Storm 4 is. But Storm 4 also does have those in-game cutscenes, and when they're there, they're really good. Storm 2, I think, holds up pretty good and is probably overall the better product than Generations is, because this was more of a filler game. This was a full-fledged mainline game, but it's not quite as good as 3 in terms of story, and not as good as 4 in terms of gameplay. And I think I would put Demon Slayer 2 here. You could still move it either way, but I'm gonna leave it here. We moved down Revolution because it is just worse than these other games. Like, it's also a filler game, but with no story mode and the worst gameplay out of these. And yeah, and then Xenoverse, I think, still belongs up here. I actually moved the Gundam games down. I think Gundam Versus was actually some mid. The game's really not for me, and it's hailed for like its mechanical depth and everything like that, but it's seriously lacking in terms of like single player features. It's really more of an online game than anything like that, and this game in particular, I mean, it's not very active, and I can't really speak on how active this game is, you know, in the West and everything, but it basically is a better version of Gundam Versus. So again, like a decently well-made game, maybe a little bit more single player content. Obviously lots of different mobile suits and everything like that. So there's stuff there, but like I'm just not really moved by them. I'm just not really impressed. They're not poorly made or anything like that. But when it comes to the online, obviously this one's like non-existent. I'm not entirely certain about this one if I'm keeping it a stack. And it's not like I played either of these in depth, but it is what it is. Sparking Zero, I also moved down to the mid tier just because I do feel like the game seriously is mid. Same thing goes for Kill la Kill. Not as bad as most of the other arena fighters that are down here, but still just I wasn't really moved by the movement or the gameplay and the story mode. Well, yeah, I mean, Bleach Rebirth of Soul stays here. And then I moved down 7 Deadly Sins. I don't know why I ever put this in a D tier anyway. Like this game is ass. This game is a 2-pack ass. I don't know why it was ever there. So yeah, man, that's the new list. I think I like this a lot more. It feels a little bit more well-rounded and balanced. I feel like it makes a little bit more sense to me. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video to like if you enjoy, subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content I'll bring you. With all that being said, that's pretty much all I have today. And remember, that can happen to you swing the bat. Later.